Jeff, I know that you've started writing a lot, especially publishing on LinkedIn. And one of the ones I saw and was really interested, you turned into a series called Navigating the Aftermath of a Breach, the Dangers of Sole Reliance on One Vendor After a Breach. We'll take a breath there. Give us the overview and why you wrote that.
I've been talking to a lot of CISOs and a lot of security professionals, and the one thing is everything's being written by vendors most of the times, right? This is the best product to do this and all that stuff. And I'm like, it's actually more than that. After a breach, it's not about vendors. It's not about that one tool that's going to fix your universe. It's multiple things. And the next one I'm thinking about is writing about security operations. Now, what do I do after this, right? Because there's a lot of work that goes into that, and to the point I was talking about earlier, context and data. And I felt like I wanted to give back to the community, right? I wanted people to just read it and go, okay, maybe I should think of things differently. If one person thinks about something differently and it helps them to be more effective in his job, the hours that I take, it's worth it, right? It is. And I feel like we have to give back. You're giving back this way, right? I was doing it earlier in my career, but now I was like, you know what? I feel like I've got enough data. I got enough context. I have enough friends, right? Like some of those, I wrote one on the exodus of CISOs, but all of those I do is I actually even reach out to a lot of my friends and talk to them and go, how do you see this? Do you think I'm on the right nail? Do you think there's something you'd be doing different? I should actually incorporate this. And it's been very enlightening because the conversations I've been having just make me smile. And it's hard to smile these days when you look at everything that's going on outside, Ukraine, Israel, bringing COVID, all kinds of things. But I just enjoyed getting back to trying to be, I hate the word best me because it's not, and I'll never be my best me, but being somebody that actually is trying to make sure that people are in a better place.
So I know in that specific article, your focus was on not being reliant on one vendor. I've heard both sides of the argument, but I'd be curious, why you took that stance and what you're hearing.
So it's interesting, right? You're in the middle of the universe blowing up around you. Right? You have a vendor and they're like, hey, our tools do all this and all this stuff. And I'm like, all of a sudden you're in a situation that you can't think straight. You are running a mile a minute, right? And then you're starting to buy all these tools from X, Y, and Z. And it's supposed to help you and make you, but actually, you're going to buy it at breach pricing. So you're paying it top dollar, which is the one thing I hate about our industry, like ambulance chasing, grave robbing, whatever you want to call it. And it just frustrates me because honestly, they're not there for you. They're there for them, right? And I'm more about step back, put on that objective hat, right? Look at what you need for that moment because you won't get that moment back. And if you're buying from one vendor, if one vendor has a problem, you all across the problem, right? And it really, and look, I know where you work, right? But you sell multiple vendors as a service. So if I'm buying from your organization, I'm not buying one vendor, I'm buying the vendors. But there are in our industry a few companies that believe because they have all these products, they're the best thing and all that stuff. And I'm seeing it and talking to a few people and they're like, in this, they came in like, buy this. And now I have a huge head. And the thing is most times when something fails, it's not the product that fails, it's how we failed the product, right? If you have an EDR and that failed, maybe your configuration of the EDR or that sort of doesn't mean bringing in another EDR is going to fix it, right? And now your team has to learn the EDR, a new EDR, that may actually mean you'll have another problem because they're not looking for the same data, right? So taking that time, sitting with the team, re-strategizing. Of course, you may need to buy something to fix a problem at that moment, but you don't need to fix the whole universe because actually you're not fixing your universe, you're just cluttering it.